I had no idea when I got into beekeeping how interesting it is. And of course, the more that you do it, the more interesting it becomes. And bees are really important. A third of what you eat every day is 100% directly related to the bees pollinating, whether it's almonds, fruit, vegetables. You know, it's pretty amazing how important they really are. This is a small swarm that I caught yesterday afternoon. So I called Pat and I said, hey, I have this swarm, do you want it? So here I am making a bee yard, and a lot of bees, if you look at my truck, they kind of escaped. So before I finished the fence, I figured I'd shake them into this nuke, and you know, hopefully they'll stay, which they should. Oh, they already started drawing comb, which is kind of cool. Right now I'm just looking for the queen. I don't think she's in there.
Did you mark her?
No, I didn't see her yesterday when I caught the swarm. But if you could see, it's really not a lot of bees. It's maybe, I don't know, maybe 5,000 or 6,000 bees. Not a lot, considering a full 2-deep hive this time of year should have between 40 and 60,000 bees per colony, if it's a strong colony. So this is a small swarm, like I said. I'm going to shake them out now. They should stay, because they're actually, once I shake them out, I'll show you inside the box, they started drawing comb overnight, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to shake them in. The bees are going to be flying around. If she goes on a frame, I'll bring the frame over so you can see her.
Okay. What's her main goal once she gets in there?
So once the queen is in here, these bees will not leave her. So they should stay if they all agree that this is going to make a nice home. It's amazing. You see them 1 minute, and then the next second they're gone.
And there's just one queen for this whole hive.
Queen, yep. Believe it or not, you could actually feel them fanning. And they fan to let the other bees know that the queen is here. It spreads the queen's pheromone around.
Wow.
And also, in the summertime when it gets really hot, they'll regulate the temperature of the hive by fanning on the entrance, and they create convection, basically. When everybody looks the same, it's hard to pick them out.
She's just a little bit bigger, right?
Yes. So if you know or don't know, some of these bigger bees are called drones. Right here. So drones are male bees. They don't sting. The only purpose they have is to fertilize a queen. Not the queen of this colony, but a queen of another colony. Of course, they're spreading their seeds elsewhere, not with their own family. So that's a drone. They don't have a stinger. So they just kind of hang out, they eat food, and they get to fly around and have their way with other queens. So there's another drone. And the queen is about that size, not as fat, more long than fat. So as you can see, these bees are going back to the box because they smell the queen from her being in here all night. They don't realize yet that she's in here, which I know she's in here. I saw her. I just can't seem to find her at the moment.
Oh, and I see the honeycomb you said they were drawing.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
It's amazing. They did that overnight.
So tell us what you're planning to do. You're going to...
So with this swarm, this is called a nuke box. Basically, it's just a mini hive. So I'm putting them in here until they start expanding. Once they start expanding as far as drawing out comb on the frames, then, you know, once they grow into their space, or grow out of their space, I should say, then we'll put them in a single deep, and then eventually, when the numbers get great enough, we'll put them in 2 deeps. So right now, I'm just putting in, this is drone comb with capped honey that I had from, you know, I just have it all over. So I put that in there for them so they have some food. Here's some open comb so the queen can start laying right away. So there's no reason for them to leave. So we try and make it as comfy as possible for them. They could decide to leave. I've had that happen before, but they should stay. So I'll just tap the rest of these bees in. I don't want to squish the bees, so I'll just gently kind of brush them in.
And then can you touch on why, you know, why people wear the white
The veil,
beekeeping and some don't?
most people do. This time of year, you know, with experience, it comes with experience. The more experience that you have, the more comfortable you become. You can kind of read the bees, I guess you could say, what you can or can't get away with. Since these bees were a swarm last night, they have nothing to defend. So they're not aggressive, they're just looking for a home. So I just provided them with a new home. And like I said, hopefully they'll stay. You'll see a couple of these bees, like this one here, is she's fanning. And what she's doing, she's standing on the front porch fanning to let all the other bees know, hey, the queen is in here. And eventually you'll see a couple more, they'll sit on the porch and they'll fan, and that gets the queen's pheromone out, so the rest of the colony will, you know, eventually smell her and move in. So this is what they did overnight. You could see this is all, that's all wax.
Oh my gosh.
They drew this out last night. I caught this swarm around 5 o'clock or so. I mean, talk about architects. Perfect hexagon, right? 6 sides, hexagon.
Yeah, talk about the divine.
So it's pretty cool. Again, this is all wax. Like, this is pure 100% clean virgin.
Yeah, it's so white. We
Yeah.
think of it as so yellow.
Yep.
Beeswax. Okay, so they're starting to
move, yeah. Now, these other 2 that I have, they're established colonies. So when I set them out, they're going to be a little mad because I disrupted them, shook them around, and they really don't like that. So I want to make sure I have the wire up and the fence ready to go before I take these out and open them up. Because when I open them up, they're not going to be too happy.
And the fence is for bear protection?
Yes. Okay. Yep, the fence is just for bear. The lower one for skunks, because believe it or not, skunks like to eat honeybees. They'll go to the entrance and they'll scratch on it, and as the bees come out, the skunks will eat the bees. And it actually makes for very mean bees.
I see
you could see, yep,
there on the porch.
Yep. You could see on the entrance here, these bees are fanning to let the other bees that are still flying around, hey, the queen is in here. you know, come on home.
They're on their, they're like downward facing dog. They're like on their
Yeah.
front.
Yep,
Like
because
legs, if you
right,
will.
so they're holding on. Basically, it's like an airplane. You hold the brake on, you put it full throttle.
Yeah, so that they don't take off.
Exactly. That's exactly what they're doing. It's cool having them. It's a lot of fun. You know, you get to see how the bees react on certain days. They'll be bringing pollen in. Pollen is their protein, and the honey is their sugar, their energy. So when they bring pollen in, they mix honey and pollen to make bee bread, and that's what they feed the younger bees. And you know, there's a lot to it. But on different days, you'll see them bringing different color. You'll see them bringing different color pollen in, depending on what's blooming. Sometimes it's white, sometimes it's yellow, purple, red, blue. It's not going to take these guys long, as you can see. Most of them are, you know, they're kind of settling down, they're finding their way.
And you put the smoke on your hands, keeps them away.
Yep, working without equipment, smoke your hands, and then that way, you know, they're kind of not, kind of masks your own sin.
Right.
This is basically like knocking on the door. Hey, I'm here. All these guys, these guys are doing the orientation flight. Like when you first move to a house.
Yep.
You gotta, you know, hey, this is where I live. All right. So what I'm gonna do, this one here, this is the first swarm that I caught 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. So these guys are established. So I'm gonna put this into a single deep, and then I'm gonna have the nuke, and I'm gonna take the nuke, move it over here.
Now, did you make that other box, or what's the story with the hole? Is
This one?
Yeah.
This is just a deep that I drilled a hole. I put a solid bottom on the bottom.
So it's just like a catching.
Just a attached piece of plywood, and that's my swarm trap.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you have the bottom board and
And
then
you gotta try. Yeah, you gotta try
the
to
outer
keep 'em.
cover. So what I do is I typically just take a piece of plywood and screw it to the top, and then that way it's one unit, you know.
Yeah.
Matthew, we're about them blowing over.
What's that?
Blowing over. Like,
Sometimes, yeah. You know, when they're stacked, you know, really high.
yeah, not that.
No, and these are protected too from the, you know. Yeah, if you watch, you'll see one will land and they all come out.
What time will we have our honey for our tea?
Huh?
What time will we have our honey for our tea today?
This one may be July, August. If not, be September.
And again, you said you do not feed them at this point.
No, there's plenty.
I mean-
Everything's blooming now. They all have. You'll see. They all have. They all have honey on them.
Right.
So, like the rest of this week, it's going to be rainy, so they have food. You know, they have food.
New York City bees.
They produce nothing.
Living in a high rise.
Start shelling at your strap. Gotta buy them.
A little warped, I get it. And again, they'll fill the cracks and.
Yep, they'll figure it out.
Yep. So what are we looking at there? Just
So you can see all the white. That's all fresh wax.
yep.
So anytime I open up a hive, I just look at the bees, make sure I don't see any deformed wing virus, which is attributed to the Varroa mite.
Yep.
These guys look pretty good. From what I could see now, I don't see any mites on them. So, but they're pretty good.
Okay. And look at that comb. They're already building that stuff out, man. Ripping it up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice and gently.
Yep.
This is just,
Is that the queen at the bottom, maybe, or not?
I don't see her.
Okay.
She was probably on where there's,
Comb.
yes. So when I take these out and I put them in, I orient them in the same way. I don't twist them. I don't.
Because otherwise you confuse them.
Right.
Potentially, right? Check that comb built out. So cool. Working their off.
This right here, this is all honey, or mostly honey. You just feel the weight of it.
Building that comb out.
Which you could. This is all capped honey.
Yep.
All right. So here, you're not a germaphobe, are you? I'm cleaning my hive tool right now.
It's okay. I am never a germaphobe. So what? Direct or lick it?
Whatever you want.
Oh yeah.
Amazing, right?
Oh yeah. I can remember when we're doing this with my wife and the kids, and my wife was like, "I think you need to boil that." I'm like, get out of here! I'm giving it to the kids.
Bees are so hygienic.
I'm giving it to them as it is. If it kills them, they've had a good life.
There's the queen.
Dove, right there. Oh yeah, I see her. Look at that. That's cool as
That's the
shit.
queen right there.
Look at her.
And this,
Brood, isn't it?
it's hard to see with the yellow, but I'm sure there's eggs in there somewhere.
That's all. They're capping that stuff.
That's all capped honey.
Cool.
You see on the bottom?
Yeah.
See all the dust?
Yeah.
That's from them cleaning the cells out and getting.
And then will they remove it eventually or not?
Sometimes no.
Okay. Now that I have a beekeeping guru, I can get back into this, and we have a proper electric fence. We're going to have that wired up shortly. I'll do that tonight before the day is over. And what's the water for?
This is sugar water with lemongrass oil.
Got it.
So they love lemongrass.
Okay.
So it's just something to get them interested in the foundation.
Okay.
Get them to, start drawing wax sooner than later.
So you guys are thinking, what are we doing playing with bees? Turns out, 15, 18 years ago, we had bees here at the farm, and the bears beat me. And we had 2 or 3 sets of bees, did pretty well with them, got them growing, got them doing the honey thing, and then the bears came in. The first time my electric fence charger went out just because. The second time there was a electrical storm and it shorted it out and it burned them up. So, and the bear came like 3 days later. Of course, I didn't know it was out, so that was a problem. And I had put the bees a little far away from the house, which wasn't very smart. So we now have them very close to the barn. We have an electric fence charger that plugs in, so we're not relying on batteries. And I've got now, I'm a Padawan, the pupil, and I have the master beekeeper, Mr. Matt, who's going to teach me how to take care of bees. So I already took the class, and I had them before, so this is all, most of it is not new, but it is new to actually be doing this with somebody who knows what they're doing. So I'm excited. So we're about to try to create another hive. So Matt has caught all these swarms. So he just transferred. That hive is one of my remnant hives left over, the second one here. So we just got that guy all established, and they're cranking. So those guys look pretty healthy and they're looking good. This one he just caught, and we're going to try to split this hive into 2 because he got a queen right there that he found somewhere.
Yep, from actually the hive at my house swarmed, and when they swarmed, they left. I was watching them. they kind of look like they're swarming again. I'm like, that's kind of weird. It turned out what I think happened, there was 2 queen cells, and they both emerged at the same time.
Right.
They kicked one out, and they kept one, and I found the one that they kicked out.
Right. So she may be a less solid queen, but if she gets going at all and they don't like her, they'll throw her out too, won't they?
Right. And that's why I'm putting frames of eggs, bees, and brood in this. I'm only going to do a 2-frame split. So it does work. I've done it many times before. But with a new queen, I'm kind of, I don't know if they're going to accept her or not. So I'm going to make sure that I have eggs, bees, and brood on 2 of the frames. And we'll see what happens. Might be slow going, but I'm sure we'll get this one, into at least a single deep by the end of the year.
So a fascinating part of this whole story is that, so he's talking about putting the egg cells, right? So the brood in there. And if for some reason the hive decides that the queen's not doing her job, they will off with her head, and they will do the magic queen jelly, and they'll create another queen out of the brood. And so, as Matt said, as long as there are fresh eggs, like how many? 24 hours old? 48 hours old?
No more than 2 days old.
Yeah. So as long as there's fresh brood cells available, if this doesn't go well in the next 24 to 48 hours, they will. Yeah, they'll take care of themselves, and they will create a new queen, or several new queens, and then whoever comes out first and seems to cover the territory will be the new queen. So he's now looking. So that's a pretty.
Oh, there's the queen too.
Okay, so he just pulled the queen out. See her? See how big she is? She's big, wasn't she?
Yeah, she is pretty big.
Healthy.
So I'm glad I found her, so now I know where she's at.
Will she stay in that general vicinity?
She should.
Okay. So you can go down below?
Yep. Lots of honey in here.
Now, is this a new hive?
This is a swarm
From
that caught themselves
a couple of days ago.
About 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so this is 2 weeks of work.
You can see all the fresh wax, which I'll show you in a minute.
Building out that comb, look at that.
This is all nectar. I don't know if you can see, but it's nice and shiny. It's shimmering.
Yep.
Okay, so that's all food. That's all nectar. And you'll see once I get into here, you'll see some honey that is capped. I'll show you some capped honey. This is all still
Working on it there.
Yep, still working on it. I could tell by the weight. It's very light. They don't have a lot
And
of
look at the
wax
honey.
on.
Can I see the honey on the?
That honeycomb right there.
Yeah, that's
The
like,
nectar.
yeah. Okay, thanks.
And that one's fuller, but not really.
Okay, so
Brood.
this right here, this is honey at the top.
Yep.
This is all brood, cap brood, open brood, and I'm looking for day-old eggs. I have probably 2 to 3 day old. So this is a maybe.
Because if they get too long, then they no longer can. They're past queen stage.
This is all cap brood.
Right.
Oh wow.
So these are all babies that are ready to be born, and you can see as the bees are being born, they're backfilling it with nectar because they don't have a place to put it.
Beautiful. So is that a good
Candidate for,
starting?
that's what I'm looking for eggs.
You said you're going to do 2 frames?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so these
Wow.
Bees that are bulging, these are all drone cells. So all hives have drones, but you don't want a lot of them. So quite a few drone cells.
And what does that tell you? Anything?
That the queen is a drone layer,
So not
which
necessarily.
isn't ideal. See all the cap brood?
Yeah.
Cap brood, they're back. Yeah, I have day old. I'm sure you won't be able to see, but I'll try and show you.
Thank you.
It's hard to see, but if you look in the back of, let me find a cell right here. That cell there. I don't know
Yeah.
if you can
Yes,
zoom
yes,
in.
yes.
There's a white speck. It looks
Yep.
like a speck of grain of
Rice or something.
There's some down at
sand
the
or
yeah.
rice or whatever.
There's some down
Very,
at the
very
bottom that are
small.
real easy to see.
So that's like
You see down in the bottom right here? There's come down toward me,
Oh,
corner
yeah.
right in there. Isn't that right there where they keep coming in the corner right there? Keep coming right there.
that's all nectar.
Oh,
Oh.
it's shiny, so it yeah.
Looks like it.
Shiny is nectar.
Okay.
Yes, it,
Yeah.
it so looks like white specks. Okay.
Here, right here.
Yep.
If you could see inside the cell,
Yep.
that's an egg.
Okay.
Like that's probably a 2-day-old egg. So I'm going to put this one in. Tons of brood, which
Yeah.
is good. And I think what I'm going to do, just look at this one here. This is all nectar. I'll go with this one too.
And then where does the queenie go?
Well, since we don't have a queen cage, I'm
Yeah.
just going to take a chance. They're either going to kill her or they're going to accept her. She's like, no, don't put me in there.
It could be a bad day.
So I'll be able to tell in a week if she's still in there or not, even if I don't see her.
Because you'll see new eggs.
Correct. So this guy is done. Put the top on this. Those bees don't even know they have a new home.
Right. And she will either be celebrated or not.
Correct.